We're just gonna
Where
watch.
is she?
I don't know where she is.
Where is Savannah?
No. Where did you go with her? I know you're not that cruel inside. I'm begging you, Lee. Just tell us.
I don't know where she is.
This is Lee Rodarte, a man taken into custody for being suspected of kidnapping and killing his co-worker, Savannah Gold. With no ideas of where Savannah could be, the cops knew getting this interrogation wrong could mean they might never catch the killer.
Bro,
What's
so
even worse
that's
is that
hella
Lee had a
psychological tricks they
foolproof
gotta
story
use.
that was going to make sure Savannah was never to be found.
Alright, let's see, Chai,
Lee,
for you.
however, is under the impression that he is smarter than the detectives. Little did he know, this would be a massive mistake for him. On the 2nd of August 2017, Savannah's family received text messages
Right
stating
after
she
April
was
Fool's,
running
bro.
away and quitting her job. The messages were riddled with errors, causing her family to panic and report her as missing immediately. Throughout the investigation,
Smart
the police
family,
were grasping
W
at
family.
straws until they were suddenly sent the CCTV footage from the Bonefish Grill where Savannah worked. The video shows her getting into a silver car in the parking lot before it began to shake violently, with the door being thrust open and pulled shut 3 times. The car then drove out of the parking
Kidnapped
lot,
her,
and
eh?
Savannah was never seen
Shoot,
again.
yeah, he
After a
probably
series of
kidnapped her, bro.
interviews, they discovered the car was identical to Lee Rodarte's, a manager at the grill and boyfriend to Savannah for around 2 months.
Wait, why did he
Lee
kidnap
was
her?
immediately arrested on suspicion of murder and brought into the interrogation room. However, he was told by police it was for an unimportant traffic warrant, and that's
already
when
psychological
the following
tricks.
happened.
I'll say right out here. You can go ahead and have a seat for me real quick. I'll be right back. Okay?
Already
Yes, sir.
psychological tricks from the
Being
beginning.
told the detective will be right back obviously implies to Lee that he won't have to wait long to be seen, but it'd actually be 90 minutes before anyone enters the room again. Only a few days ago, Lee was interviewed about the disappearance of a girl he kidnapped, and now he's been handcuffed and taken into a police interrogation room. Lee will be feeling incredibly anxious now.
Oh,
but
yeah.
remember, he's confident that there's no way the cops have enough evidence to take him
No,
down.
okay.
But unfortunately for him, the facade the detectives put up is all about to be ripped away.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
Good, good. You remember me from the other day, Detective Reeves? Okay.
And I'm assuming they keep the
The
suspects in the
detective
room
that
to like
enters
build up
isn't
the
the same one
anxiousness.
that brought him in. It's the one who interviewed him about Savannah 3 days prior. Any comfort he found in thinking this was all unrelated has now been completely
Out the
taken
window,
away and
yeah.
replaced with pure panic. But Lee's plan remains the same, so he tries
Let's
to
read
keep
his
himself
body
composed
language,
as
try
he
to tell.
prepares for the onslaught of questions he's about to be hit with.
So, Savannah, you said that you knew her and you guys had, you knew her from work. I mean, just kind of fill me in with that. How long have you known her?
Like I said, I've known her obviously since she started working there. I would say probably about 8 months ago, we started hanging out outside of work. And at the time, I had a girlfriend.
It looks like he's making eye
Kinda,
contact.
you know,
so
we
yeah.
kind of connected, me and Savannah. So we hung out a
Can't
little
really
bit here
tell.
and there. Got pretty close. We come from, I guess, somewhat similar backgrounds, I guess you should say.
The question Lee was given was, how long have you known Savannah? A question that surely merits a fairly simple answer.
So he's going off on tangents. That means he's guilty, nigga. Get this nigga
When
out
hit
of
with a question like this, people who have nothing to hide keep
Allah?
their responses short,
and sweet.
taking the questions at face value. But people who feel pressured will usually extend their answers to questions in an effort
Already.
to seem as though they know what they're talking
Yeah.
about.
Nah, they got this
Something
nigga.
Lee will fall victim to.
So we kind of connected, hung out for a little while. I'd probably say a period of
Detectives already know.
2-3 months.
Okay.
And then she started using drugs a lot. I did them with her a couple times, and then she started to get heavy into them, and
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
so
He's trying to
I
build
kind
a
of just
story now. Let you just
tried to
escape.
take a step back and, you know, put things off. And then probably a month or so ago, I saw Savannah at work, and she looked healthy again. You know, she gained a little bit of weight. We kind of were talking, you know, here and there. We hung out a couple times. She came over to the house.
Bro, he's
and,
giving
you know, we
his
just
whole
kicked
life
back
story,
and
my nigga. Like,
couple beers,
all he asked
watched
you was one
movies,
question,
stuff
bro.
like that.
In total, Lee spoke for over 5 minutes in
Bombo
response to a
clad.
single
Yeah, that
simple
nigga's guilty,
question,
bro.
going so far
Get
as
him
to
outta
detail
here.
specific
Get him outta
encounters between the pair. Now that the detectives have even more reason to suspect that he may be hiding something, they decide to call him out on something small to gauge his reaction. In the first interview, Lee had told investigators he hadn't seen Savannah in a while. But if the CCTV footage is to be believed, this is a bold-faced lie.
And then as we hung out, after a couple of times, she brought drugs over. I told her, I was like, you're doing really good. You can't, you shouldn't be doing it again. I think you moved too
like the
fast.
righteous role.
Split mutual
He's
ways.
an idiot.
Right.
Yeah. And that was the last time that we text.
Okay.
When was that? When was that?
It was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Sometime in July.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's what
Right,
you
right.
said was that was the last time that you had contact with her.
Yes.
As far as I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I mean you correct me.
That was the
any
last time that I texted her.
Yeah, text or a phone call or messenger
Yeah.
or anything like that. 2 to 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Okay. And then the last time, when was the last time you saw her?
This is what I was a bit. I didn't tell you the truth when we talked at Bonefish.
Okay.
Last time I.
Yo, is this nigga okay? You're like getting investigated and you're saying I didn't tell the truth?
A bit. I didn't tell you the truth when we talked at Bonefish.
Okay.
Last time I saw her was Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
I heard that she has been basically telling a lot of people at work that we hooked up a bunch, like a couple days before that.
Yeah.
So I met her in the parking lot at Bonefish
When's this?
Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
do
he's
you know
telling
the
the
time or about.
truth.
It was about 5:30.
Okay.
Without realizing it, Lee has already provided us with enough evidence to assume he's guilty. We know he knew Savannah. He had the same vehicle seen in the footage, and he was present at the scene of the crime when it happened. Remember, Lee has no idea the cops have footage of the event. If he knew about it, he would have tried to provide an alibi that put him somewhere completely different. Unfortunately, though, this isn't quite enough evidence for the cops to get a guaranteed conviction. Instead, they need to push further to try and extract a full confession. Something that will not come easy at all.
I parked and I said, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And she said, yeah, what's up? And I was like, I heard you've been saying some things about me and you continuing to hang out, and that we're boyfriend and girlfriend. And she
This kind of
asked me,
seems
she said,
believable, low-key.
can I come sit in the car because I just did some heroin and I'm a little paranoid.
It was never confirmed that Savannah did do heroin. Nobody in her life mentioned seeing or suspecting she used it. And even if she did,
So
she
he
was headed
made-
to a
he
shift
made
at
that
her
up.
job as this conversation
To,
was
like, try to
taking
get
place.
the
If she was
officers on
able
his
to do
side?
that without getting paranoid, it seems strange she couldn't simply have a chat in the parking lot.
So she came and sat in the car, and I explained to her the situation. I told her that servers at Bonefish were coming to me and telling me that you're telling people when you're out that we're boyfriend and girlfriend. And I said, I need you to stop, because for one, it's jeopardizing my job. We agreed to, split, stop talking mutually and just move on. But it was nothing more than that. And she said, I'm going to do what I want. I didn't tell anybody anything. At that point, I got out and I punctured the hole in the tire. And I said, no, stop. And I said, don't do it again, or next time it's going to be worse. It's going to
Bro, no, this nigga's already showing signs of aggression. I ain't gonna lie. He's showing mad signs of aggression.
be your windows. At that point, she had her phone in her hand. She got out of the car and walked towards the main entrance from San Jose.
Obviously, this entire explanation was
Lies.
crafted to try and create an alibi
Bunch
as
of bullshit.
close as possible to what actually happened. But the few small inaccuracies are actually glaring windows directly into the truth. We know that Savannah never left the vehicle in the parking lot, and that she drove away with him just minutes after getting in. Lee is unwittingly constructing a mountain of evidence against him in the form of lies that he thinks he's getting away with.
Shit.
And he's not finished yet.
Yeah.
And it looked like she was either texting or calling somebody.
Okay.
Because as she started walking towards there's an entrance to the plaza. She was walking maybe towards this way. And I would say an older model Ford pickup, green.
Okay.
drove past me.
No, this
and
nigga is
around,
just telling himself. He's
and she
saying a
got
bunch
in.
of bullshit,
Okay.
bro.
She
How long
got
do
in.
you think it was between the time that she got out and started using her phone till that green truck pulled up?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. So wow. So if she called somebody, they got there in
5
minutes to pick her up.
Well, I mean, like I said, it looked like she was going to call somebody, and that's when the green truck came around, and she got in.
Already
So she's
holding
in the
your
truck.
story,
What
bro.
happened at that point?
They drove back around, kind of looped around a little bit.
Which way did they drive?
So I guess they exited that way, and at that point,
So that whole time you were watching
Lee
that whole thing?
doubles down on the lie, again, thinking that this puts him completely in the clear, as he wouldn't have been the last person to see Savannah, but his decisions continue to work against him. Had he decided to stick closer to the truth, he might have been able to argue that he took Savannah somewhere else and then parted ways with her.
Right.
But without the knowledge of what police have against him, Lee is left simply guessing and forced to make up stories on the fly.
Flip.
This is why it's so important to call a lawyer, innocent or not. In an interrogation, detectives are allowed to both lie and withhold evidence from you,
What?
putting you
Since when? Since when are these niggas allowed to lie? Say on God, these niggas are allowed to lie. Oh, nah, yeah.
in a very difficult situation where you're at the mercy of their tactics
never
and
knew
games. However, the second you bring an attorney into the mix, things get exponentially easier, as police are forced to turn over all of the evidence in their possession so they can put together a fair and sound defense for you. Calling a lawyer isn't just having a wingman at the interrogation room. It's an unlocked door that bypasses almost all of the police's tricks. It goes from them interrogating you to a legal battle. But, needless to say, Lee hasn't called the lawyer and has been left at a disadvantage from the beginning.
Because if you don't remember from the beginning of the video, they brought him in under like car charges, like fines that he hadn't paid. He did not know he was getting interrogated today.
If Lee was as smart as he thinks he
So
is,
he
he wouldn't have waived this right, and likely would be in a much better position.
What happened to your neck?
That was self-inflicted, actually.
Nigga, that's not even
Why?
my neck!
I just have been having kind of a hard time.
Self-inflicted, y'all.
Your neck?
I couldn't. Yeah, I did. And
What did you use?
a knife.
When did you do that?
Some time in July.
You did that in July and it's still
Bloody?
Yeah.
bloody?
Well, I kind of peeled the scab here and there at work, hitting it on stuff like that. I peeled it last night working. And it was coming off a little bit today, so I peeled that a little bit.
All right, let me see.
But this was the same night. This one was just a lot worse
Yeah.
than this one was.
Okay. And that was in July?
Yeah.
Okay. Like a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't take a genius to realize how brazen of a lie this is.
That's so stupid,
Aside
yeah.
from his incredibly unconvincing delivery of his excuses,
Yeah.
Lee has
Yeah,
no
it's a lie,
history
yeah.
with self-harm and was reported to have been in good spirits in the weeks leading up to this event. Furthermore, Lee becomes visibly anxious here. Most people have a tell that shows when they're lying or feeling uncomfortable. For many, this is crossing their arms or slouching in their chair, but Lee keeps his posture and position fairly consistent throughout the interview. Instead, Lee is prone to subconscious jittery movements in his limbs.
Hand movements?
Earlier in the interview, while being caught in his first
Oh,
lie,
look at his leg,
he bounced
chat.
his
Look at
leg
his shirt.
repeatedly
Yeah,
the entire
there we go.
time. While here, he moves his hand and fingers unnaturally every time he tells a lie. In fact, it's almost comical how perfectly it lines up with the false statements.
I met her in the parking lot at
The leg?
Fish
The leg?
What is this?
Wednesday afternoon.
What happened to your neck?
That was self-inflicted.
The
actually.
What did
fingers.
you use?
A knife.
It's also interesting to note that the detectives
actually
almost
read 'em like a
certainly
book,
noticed
bro.
these marks just seconds into the interview. The decision to mention it now was a conscious one, done to try and build pressure. Lee would likely have anxiety regarding his last big lie about Savannah exiting his vehicle. Catching him so suddenly in a second lie right after will likely amplify these feelings and cause him to feel even more paranoia as the detectives continue. This is also likely why they immediately flip back to talking about the truck right after.
Could you see who the person in the truck was?
The truck had fairly tinted windows. I saw a baseball cap.
Yeah. You see a guy, girl, white, black?
I couldn't really tell if it was a guy or a girl.
Okay.
I just remember seeing the truck drive and her get in.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm sitting in front and truck drives right past me.
Yeah.
And I saw a baseball cap through the passenger window.
Okay.
But
So did it seem like she knew the person?
I mean, she got right in.
Lee, why didn't you mention this before, since we've been looking for this girl? Don't you
God,
think that information
I mean, it
important?
definitely does. And I regret obviously not saying anything before.
So when I come up and talk to you yesterday, I'm not threatening. I'm talking to everybody up there. What? Why?
Well, I just, I freaked out, to be honest with you. I mean,
this girl's missing?
yes.
Okay. But you know she's been missing. I mean, you had to know.
Obviously, I was the last one
now
to
they're
see
honing
her,
in on.
so I was a little bit scared at that.
Now.
How do you know you just said you weren't the last one to see her. You just said somebody in a truck.
Well, I mean, the last one to see her at Bonefish.
Okay.
The last one she's heard from.
Right.
I had contact with that anybody knows of.
Sure.
The detective knows he's starting to catch Lee on the back foot, so decides to keep the pressure up.
He's
So
stuttering.
where's Savannah right now?
I don't know.
Where would I find her?
I don't know.
That's my prime objective, is to find her.
Definitely.
And here's a couple reasons I need to find her. One is I'm hoping that she's still alive. And that's really, I really do, I'm holding out for that. And if she's not alive, then I think she and her family are due that knowledge. I think they need some closure.
Yeah.
So where is she?
I don't know where she is.
Where is Savannah?
I don't know.
I need to know where Savannah is. So I
now
can
he's
tell
changed
family.
from asking
She
him
is.
You don't know
to saying,
because
where is she?
you had something done with her and you weren't involved in that part? I don't know. Tell me something. What can I work with?
I told you the last time I saw her.
But that's not true, because we have proof. We have proof. And that's why we're sitting here, Lee. At this point, we need this for her. I mean, I look at that little girl and I think of my little girl. My little girl who's her age. That's who I think about. That was my little girl. I couldn't imagine. I don't care what she said about you
She's
or
using her
whatever,
emotions
but
to
my little girl is
overwhelm
that age.
Maybe
And you're not telling the truth.
Maybe something gets out of hand in the car.
I didn't do anything.
Okay, you didn't do
Okay.
anything,
He's
but she was
trying to
in
get
your
him
car.
out.
She never got out of your car. She never got out of your car. Lee?
This is where the true genius of these detectives start to shine.
Back and
The
forth.
initially quiet female detective suddenly starts to speak
hounding.
up.
Yeah.
The male detective had a very deadpan, professional demeanor throughout the interrogation, so having that suddenly contrasted by a vulnerable, emotional-looking person being thrust in front of him will likely come as even more of a shock to him, especially
think
as
it's a
she
good
starts to
girl.
become more emotive and even starts to beg him.
She never gets out of that car. And you drive off. She never gets out of that car. There is no green truck. And that's not right to her. We're fact finders, Lee. I don't have anything personal against you.
No, not at all. I mean, it's
We're
over.
just fact
Just
finders.
tell us
We're
what
just
happened.
doing
Where
our
is she?
job. No. Where did you go with her? Where did you go with her, Lee? Be human. You're a human. You're a man. Where did you go with her? I know you're not that cruel inside.
Maybe you
Please.
maybe you don't know where she is now. Where did you go with her?
Please. I'm begging you, Lee. I know you're not an evil person.
He's trying to give him like
I don't
outs
see that in you.
and trust like the male detective,
I don't
because
see
he's
that in
trying
your
to say like you
history.
didn't really
I don't
kill
hear
her,
those
you
things
know?
about you at work.
But like tell me where she
Is
is.
she still at your house?
As soon as he say yes.
Okay. Is she still in your car?
No.
Okay.
Let's back up. Let's back up to that no.
I don't hear those things about you at work. Is she still at your house?
No.
Okay. Is she still in your car?
No.
Okay.
She's in the
Where
car.
is she?
She's in the
What
car.
was going on in the back seat? For the doors to be kicked
Or is that a
open?
reach? I feel like
She
she's in the
opened the
back
door
seat. That
three
no was kind of
times, Lee.
shaky.
She kicked it. We saw it. And you know I'm not making it up, because I wouldn't know this, because I wasn't there unless we had video of it.
Facts.
Correct? Yes,
Facts.
correct.
They got
I'm
his
not
ass.
trying to trick you. I'm just a fact finder.
I mean, she was upset. She tried to slap me. I slapped her. She went to get out. I grabbed her around her waist and said, "Where are you going? Why are you hitting me?" She calmed down and we left.
Why would she leave with you after that? Why would
I mean,
she?
we've gotten arguments plenty of times where she says she doesn't care what happens or anything like that.
All right. Sometimes people do wrong things, right? Sometimes people make mistakes. It's what you do afterwards.
Get this
You got
nigga
a
out of here,
family
bro. Get
that
this
needs
nigga out of
closure.
here, bro.
They're now coming to the reality that she's no longer with us. You want people to remember you as a guy who said, okay, look, I'm going to do the right thing? Or do you want your family and everybody else to think that you're some evil, heartless person?
He is!
who
He
won't
is!
tell us what
He
she
is!
did?
He is!
I don't think you're that kind of guy. I don't think you're evil. Just tell
He
us
is,
where
bro.
she is.
Get him out of here, bro.
Closure for her family.
She was hitting me. She wouldn't stop.
Yeah, nah, he's saying all this
Squeeze
shit.
back. Just squeezed her. Stop.
You squeezed her around her neck or around her neck?
She just wouldn't let go. I didn't let go.
Where is she now?
Please tell us where she is.
All I want to do is leave me. It's on the west side. Club du Clay.
Club du Clay?
My
And Longchamp.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a few days later, a dive team recovered the remains of Savannah Gold, burned and almost unrecognizable. So much so that her cause of death couldn't even be determined. Lee Rodarte pleaded guilty to the second-degree murder of Savannah and in March of 2021 was sentenced to 40 years behind bars.